Shalom, family. May the blessings of Yahuwah be upon you. This is Brother David coming to you again to bring you the Feast of Trumpets. What does that signify? The trumpet, it shall sound, and the dead in Yahuwah will rise first, and those that are alive and remain will be gathered from all the places in which we've been scattered. We look forward to that day. Let me give you a heads up. Any minute now, any month, any week, any day, any hour, you have to be ready, because we're looking forward to the return of the King. What King is that, Brother David? Is the King Yahusha, the one that will reign forever and ever? Or is that King David? Well, we'll look into that also. And I'll give you assignments. This we shall discover together. Let's begin. Leviticus chapter 23, verses 23 to 25. Here are the instructions for the Feast of Trumpets. 23. And Yahuwah spake unto Moshe, saying, Listen, the Most High is speaking. He's giving instructions for you. If you were in the church and they told you to dismiss this because it was for the Jews, you have been bamboozled. These instructions are for you. You have to keep them. How can you be obedient to the Most High and dismiss all of his feast days and accept all of the feast days of the Gentiles? 24. Speaking to the children of Yasharal, he's speaking to you. You are the seed, the bloodline, the ones who have been taken captive in these last days. You have been in the land of your captivity for 400 years. You fit all of the criteria to be his people, because this book is written for you and about you, saying, in the 7th month. How do you find the 7th month? Well, you first go to the beginning of the year, the first month. You count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and you have your 7th month. What if you add a 13th month? Then you'll be in the 8th month. Hey, right away you have violated the commandments of the Master of the universe. In the first day of the month. How do you find the first day of the month? Is it on the Gregorian calendar? Well, the Gregorian calendar is the sun calendar. All of Yahuwah's feast days are dictated by the lunar event. So is it the dark moon? Impossible. When you look up in the sky, what do you see? Nothing. Darkness. You have to observe something. The dark moon is considered to be the 30th day of the month. In the end of the 30th day, as the sun dips below the horizon in the western sky, here will appear before you a slither of light. The sun transfers its light to the moon in 1/2 of a 7th part, which equals 1/14th part of light. Every 1/14th part equals 1 day. In 14 days, the light has become full. Hey, Brother David, isn't the full moon the first day of the month? Well, I guess you did not hear what I just said. The moon does not start out full. It has to grow in its light. All you have to do is be one who observes from day to day. The people that you listen to have book smarts that they got from the Gentiles, or they came up from the imagination of their own mind. They have not went out to observe. Can you start your month on the 14th day? Doesn't that sound ridiculous? Well, the full moon is not the starting point, because it takes 14 days for the light to become full. Shall ye have a Sabbath? Hey, New Moon's Day is a Sabbath. It is only pointed out to be a Sabbath on this one day, the memorial of blowing the trumpets. It cannot be like the regular weekly Sabbath because of the time when you spot the renewed moon as the sun dips below the horizon at dusk in the western sky. How do you have time to bake, boil, kindle your fires, and prepare and store up for the next day? You don't. Remember, they didn't have computers. We have to put ourselves in their shoes in order to understand the law. You shall have a memorial of blowing of the trumpets and holy convocation. That's a gathering. Can you gather in the lands of your captivity at some church or some venue? No, only in the land, at the temple, at the east gate, when you come before Yahuwah. So what do, Brother David? Stay in your homes. And if you have someone who is alone or by themselves, and you know them, invite them over to celebrate with you. But you have to be extra careful. The coronavirus is in the land, and it's getting ready to run rampant. Verse 25. Instructions. Ye shall do no servile work therein. Take off that day. Do not go to work and violate the commandments. If you're following any of the people who've added a 13th month to the calendar, you already violated the commandment by putting it in the 8th month. If you're starting from the full moon, you violated the commandment again. You're going to start 15 days later instead of the first day of the month. If you start from the dark moon, you're starting from the prior month. So you must follow these instructions exactly the way he says to do it. Do not go to work. Take off that day. But ye shall offer an offering made by fire unto Yahuwah. Brother David, do we offer anything up? We have to make a sacrifice? No. Yahusha, the Ma-Sha Yah, the one who carries the burden of Yah, is in the heavenly realms, making continual intercession on your behalf. He has all of this handled. He is your high priest. He is your advocate. So the only thing that you have to do is keep the feast. Matthew chapter 24, verses 29 to 31. I'm going to give you 3 witnesses that are linked to the blowing of this trumpet And then our brothers and sisters arising from the grave, and us being gathered and brought into the promised land. Verse 29. Immediately after the tribulation of those days. Stop. Did he say anything about a pre-tribulation? These are the doctrines of the Gentiles. Pre-trib means you're going to be raptured up. That word rapture is not in the Bible at all. You're going to be raptured up before the tribulation period. Does it say that here? No. Then you have mid-tribulation. That means in the middle of the tribulation that you're going to be raptured up before the tribulation ends. Does it say that here? No. Dismissed with all those doctrines. You have to go through the tribulation period. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light. Look, the moon is not going to give her light. Why? Because if the sun is dark, there is no light. The moon does not have any light. Light is transferred from the sun to the moon in increments, in 1/2 of a 7th part, which equals 1/14th part of light. And in 14 days, that we said before, your light will become full. So if you have no sun, you have no moon. And the stars shall fall from the heaven. What is these stars? Are they angels? They're called stars. Are there heavenly bodies that are going to fall? They're called stars. Are there nuclear weapons? They're called stars. And the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Verse 30. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. Did it say the Son of God? No. The Son of Man. In order for him to have the title, the Son of Man, he has to come from the loins of a man. He cannot come from the heavens and come down and have sex with Mary. He has to be born of the lineage, of the bloodline, from Yahudah, one who is a direct descendant all the way back to King David. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn. What are they mourning for? I thought everyone was waiting for this event. Well, they're going to be afraid. Do you remember at Horeb what they were seeing? In the cloud, this fire burning before them, and the voice that they were hearing, and they were so afraid, they said, we're getting out of here. Masha, we don't want to hear his voice, nor do we want to see this great burning that is in the sky. You speak to him, and you come back and you tell us. Well, that event is going to happen here. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Is he going to be coming floating in the clouds with a white robe, with his arms stretched out wide, with blonde hair, blue eyes? That is a myth. That is something that they made up. He's going to come in great chariots, ships, and they're going to show up in the heavens, and everyone is going to be in fear for their life. There's going to be weeping and mourning. Verse 31, and he shall send his angels with the sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect, the chosen ones, the called out ones, the children of Yasharal. That's who he's speaking about. From the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Every place where they were scattered. Even in ships. Danyael, chapter 12, verses 1 to 3. Verse 1. And at that time, what time? Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall Mayakael stand up, the great prince which standeth for the children of thy people. Who does Mayakael, or Michael, that you know him as, stand up for? Only the children of Yesharal. They are the ones whom the Father is focused on. It's not the world. It is just you. Look, the great prince, which standeth for the children of thy people. What was Danyael? He was a Hebrew. He was a Yesharalite. What was his people? They were Hebrews. They were Yesharalites. Look who he's talking about. The children of thy people. Seed, bloodline. He's talking about this time. And there shall be a time of trouble, tribulation, such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. The coronavirus is in the land. It's destroyed all of these countries' economy. And you know he hit them right in the belt. There's nothing but pagans in the land. They can't go out and have a good time anymore. This is causing anxiety. People are losing their minds. There are wars. There are rumors of wars. There's earthquakes in diverse places. Half of the United States is burning down. There's floods all over Europe and in Africa. Brothers and sisters, this is it. And at that time, what time is that again? Immediately after the tribulation of those days, thy people shall be delivered. Wow. All of us? He said he wasn't going to leave any of us here. Because once you leave here and you are gathered, Judgment Day. Everyone that shall be found written in the book. Uh-oh. Is your name in the book? Have you kept his ways? Have you even studied about them? Are you practicing them? If this is your first feast day, follow instructions. Verse 2. And many of them that sleep in the dust, the trumpet shall sound, and the dead shall rise first. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake. Look at this. Judgment. Some to everlasting life. Those who kept his ways. And some to shame and everlasting contempt. This is that great and terrible day. Verse 3. And they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament. What makes a person wise? He studies. He practices. He keeps the laws from the government of the kingdom of the Most High, which shows that he is aligned with Yahuwah. Those who have done that shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness as the stars forever and ever. Turn many to righteousness. What is righteousness? Look at the first word. Right. To do what's right. Where would you find the instructions on what to do, how to live right in the Bible? In Torah. In the 5 books of Masha. That is righteousness. If you dismiss that, the only thing you stand for is wickedness. And the only thing that you will see in that day is shame and everlasting contempt. Jeremiah chapter 30, verses 8 to 10. Verse 8. For it shall come to pass in that day. What day? The great and terrible day. After the tribulation period. After this time of trouble. Saith Yahuwah of hosts. Who's speaking? The Most High. That I will break his yoke from off thy neck. Break whose yoke? Your captors. Man, this is going to be a great day. This is going to be a day of exoneration. This is going to be the day that I can stand with my head held high and I can look at my captors and all of those who have treated us evil and say to them, I told you. And will burst thy bonds. He's going to break the shackles from your wrists. And strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. Who is this him? Yesharo. The children, the seed that comes from Yaakov. The one you know is Jacob. He's going to set us free. Tell me something. Who in the whole world has been in the land of their captivity today for 400 years? Can you point him out? Only us. Verse 9. But they shall serve Yahuwah, their Eluah, and David, their king, whom I will raise up unto them. Remember in the intro I said something to you about the return of the king, and I asked you the question, who is it going to be? Is it going to be David, or is it going to be Yahusha? Which one is going to be the king? I'm giving you a heads up now because we're going to make a video later and we're going to go through all the scriptures, and I want you to be aware of everything that is going on because I want to teach you some things. This is the perfect passage to teach you about translation and original text. Look on the bottom. It says that David's going to be the king. I'm going to give you a few scriptures. You're going to find the rest. In 2 Samuel chapter 7, read the whole thing. You're going to find that Yahuwah made a covenant with David. He says, thy seed is going to sit upon the throne forever. So is it David going to sit upon the throne? Or is it his seed that would sit upon the throne? And who would that seed be? Well, Yahusha. Because our brother Yahusep, the one you know as Joseph, his real name is Yahusep, he is from the line of David, the root and the offspring of David. So which one is it? Is it going to be David who's going to be the king? Or is it going to be Yahusha, the seed from the root and the offspring of David? Then you're going to go to Ezekiel. Read the whole thing, but pay attention to 23 and 24. It tells you that David is going to be our shepherd. He's going to feed the flock. And then it says that he's going to be a prince amongst us. Then you go to Psalms chapter 89, verse 2 to 4. Read the whole thing again. And you'll find out that it says there that the seed of David is going to sit upon the throne forever. Then you go to Isaiah chapter 9, and it tells you about the child that should be born, the son that's going to be given, that's going to sit upon the throne of David. Do you understand what just happened here? You have verse 9 telling you we're going to serve David, our king. You have Ezekiel telling you that David's going to be our shepherd and our prince. But all of the rest of the scriptures in the Bible tells you that the seed of David, the root and the offspring of David, is going to sit upon the throne. Clearly, you have a problem here. Something's wrong. Is it in the original text? Or is it in the European translation? We're going to check that out in another day. But I want you to start your research now. You should want to know who's going to be your king. You don't want to keep listening to people who have no knowledge whatsoever, that are in a strong delusion, believing lies. So let's investigate this together. Verse 10. Therefore, fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith Yahuwah. Neither be dismayed, O Yesharal, for lo, I will save thee from afar. Listen, the scripture is clearly pointing out to you who he's coming to save, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. Is that clear? Bloodline. Those who came after him, they all came from his loins. From generation to generation to generation, he's going to come and deliver us from the lands of our captivity. The trumpet shall sound, the dead shall rise first, and then those that are alive and remain shall be gathered from the four corners of the earth, every place in which we were scattered. And Jacob shall return, and shall be in rest, and be quiet, and no one, shall make us afraid again. As usual, we prepare our list at the end, so we'll know how to carry out this day. The first thing you're going to do is spot the renewed moon. It's in the western sky as the sun dips below the horizon. When you spot it, number 2, you're going to blow the trumpets. You're going to celebrate. You're going to worship. You're going to put your prayer in. 3, afterwards, eat, drink, rejoice. The king is coming soon. I guarantee you. You have to be ready. 4, no servile work can be done on that day. You can't go to your place of work. You have to take off. But 5, the restrictions are removed. This is just like the regular feast days. You can bake, you can boil, you can kindle a fire, which means you can barbecue. It's a party. It's a celebration. 6, buy the children presents. Noisemakers. I know the parents are saying, oh, Brother David, you don't know what you're asking. Yes, I do. I had them here, and boy, they know how to make some noise. But buy them trumpets. You know, nothing, you don't even have to do anything expensive. You can get the little party favors and let them blow them, you know, and wrap them, put them in a package like a gift, and put some cookies or candy, and even if you buy them a little Bible so that they can read this day, about this day for themselves, do so. You want to make this appealing to the children so that they'll be looking forward to it every single year. Have we added to or taken away from the word by doing this? No, because he told us this is a memorial of blowing the trumpets. You cannot blow the trumpet. The child cannot participate if he doesn't have a horn to blow. Are you with me? It's also a day that you're going to have a feast. In your feast, don't you have sweets, cookies, candies, cakes, blah, blah, blah? Instead, put the cookies and the candies in their presents and buy them a little Bible so that they can read for themselves. 7, the projected date that we're looking forward to spotting the renewed moon is August 9th in the evening as the sun dips below the horizon or dips below a rooftop. Then you are to begin to look for the renewed moon. If you look at prior videos, from our new moon's day, it'll give you an approximate time. But whatever time you see, be out there an hour or so in advance and be prepared to look for the moon at the place where you saw the sun dip below the horizon. Also look for the little star, very bright. If you see that bright star, if you look a little lower to the right, that's where the moon is going to show up. So it begins the evening of the 9th, once you spot the renewed moon, into the evening of the 10th, and that is your feast day. You see, this is the way the lunar day, the day which Yahuwah chose, the sign which Yahuwah chose for you to find his feast is from evening to evening, not from sunrise to evening, from evening to evening. Rejoice, brothers and sisters. Shalom.